the 2003 Mustang Cobra versus the 2000 Cobra R. Two of the best fourth-gen Mustangs and arguably two of the best Mustangs ever built. Each one of these cars were built to dominate the competition, but in a head-to-head battle, which Cobra will come out victorious? And why is this Detroit muscle battle much closer than you think? Let's go.
Gerard.
When it comes to performance and prestige, the 2000 Cobra R stands out with only 300 units ever produced. Ford introduced the 2000 Cobra R as the fastest Mustang ever produced. To pull off such a feat, Ford pulled in John Coletti. The SVT team put out one of the most iconic Mustangs ever built. The regular 4.6 engine was abandoned in favor for the larger Triton V8. Now, the Triton V8 increased the displacement from 4.6 to 5.4 liters. Not only did the SVT team increase the displacement, they beefed up the internal components also. SVT used forged connecting rods, forged pistons, forged steel crank, higher flowing cylinder heads, a low restriction two-piece Cobra 5.4 intake manifold, and a higher flowing single bore 80mm throttle body. The compression ratio was bumped up to 9:6:1. The SVT team then just claimed that it was the fastest Mustang produced to date. It was. The total output of the 2000 Cobra R was 385 horsepower at 5,700 RPM and 385 pound-feet of torque at 4,500 RPM. Independent dyno tests proved that Ford underrated those numbers. They really fudged those numbers. All right, let's pause right here. And if you're enjoying this content, please do me a solid and hit the like and subscribe button. Now, if I receive 100 likes on this video, I'll do another one of these battle style format videos. So please share this video, hit the like, and leave a comment down below. Not only did the SVT want to make the fastest Mustang ever, but they also wanted to produce something that would compete and beat some of the Europeans at the track. Underneath the Cobra R featured independent rear suspension, just like other new age Cobras, while the standard model Mustang still used a live axle setup. It sported Blissteen shocks and Eibach coilovers with 13-inch Brembo brakes up front. The Cobra R was designed with racing in mind. It lacked many of the creature comforts found in the 2003 Cobra, such as rear seats, air conditioning, radio. All this was done to reduce weight and enhance performance. With all the weight savings completed, you can expect the Cobra R to weigh approximately 3,500 pounds. This no-compromise approach makes the Cobra R a more focused and exhilarating driving experience for enthusiasts who prioritize performance over comfort. The 2000 Cobra R holds a special place in Mustang history as one of the most hardcore, track-oriented Mustangs ever produced by Ford. Its raw, unfiltered driving experience and limited production makes it a standout model in the Mustang lineage. There's one word that would send chills down the spines of LS and Hellcat owners. That word is Terminator. The 2003 Ford Mustang Cobra, often referred to as the Terminator, remains one of the most iconic and revered models in Mustang history. Developed by the Ford Special Team Vehicle Program, this was designed to push the boundaries of performance and power, making it stand out in the early 2000s Mustang muscle car scene. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, the muscle car market was really heating up. It was an arms race, with rivals like the Chevy Camaro and the Pontiac Firebird pushing the envelope in terms of performance. The SVT team knew they had to create something to stay ahead of the game. So the development of the 2003 Mustang Cobra began with a clear goal: to create the most powerful and capable Mustang ever. At the heart of the 2003 Mustang Cobra is a supercharged 4.6 dual overhead cam V8 engine. This powerhouse makes an impressive 390 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque. That's thanks to the Eaton 112 supercharger.
Back up close. I think you're going to see that we paid attention to detail in just about every aspect of the car.
The SVT team didn't just slap a supercharger on a run-of-the-mill 4.6 engine. What they did was build one of the most OP factory engines ever made. What makes this iron block 4.6 dual overhead cam engine so OP are the things that the SVT team put into it. For instance, utilizing a forged steel crank made in Mount Doom, fully counterweighted, with 8-bolt hubs from a company called Kellogg's Crankshaft. The juicing continued with forged steel connecting rods from Manley, which also included ARP rod bolts. Manley also supplied the forged aluminum pistons, which produced a compression ratio of 8:5 to 1. The SVT team pretty much sold you a bulletproof engine. Don't believe me? Well, this stock short block has seen 4-digit horsepower and it has ran a quarter miles in the 8 seconds from a factory built short block. That's insane. The Terminator has some impressive suspension and brake upgrades to handle its powerful engine. For the suspension, the 2003 Cobra featured an independent rear suspension, which was beefed up as opposed to the earlier Cobras. The IRS provided better handling and ride quality, especially in cornering situations. The suspension used a McPherson strut design with coilovers, while the rear had a multi-link setup. This combination helped the Cobra maintain better contact on the road while improving grip and stability. When it comes to brakes, the 2003 Cobra was equipped with Brembo 4-piston brakes up front and 13-inch vented rotors, which provided excellent stopping power. The rear brakes were also upgraded with 11.65-inch vented rotors and a single piston caliper. This system ensured that the Cobra could handle the demands of high-speed driving and track use, offering reliability and consistent performance. Overall, the suspension and braking system on the 2003 Cobra were designed to complement its powerful supercharged engine, making it a well-rounded performance car. The legacy of the 2003 Ford Mustang Cobra is one of power, performance, and a vehicle that changed the muscle car industry. It represented a perfect balance of American muscle and modern technology, making it a beloved collector car among enthusiasts. Whether on the drag strip and open road, the 2003 Cobra continues to captivate and inspire, solidifying its place in automotive history. All right, let me practice some live script reading right here and change this up a bit. But first, yeah, my man Khalid looking kind of nice. Those Bears, although it was against Carolina Panthers, but no diss to the Panther fans out there. But let me stop before y'all tune out and let's get back to this. So, let's compare some track data from these two Cobras. First off, let me say this is a comparison between two cars in stock form. We all know that the 03 Cobra can go Super Saiyan with a Gen 5 Whipple, but with such limited quantities of the Cobra R, you don't see these cars being built to make 4 digits. Most of these cars are just being put up in a bubble by investors. Now, let's look at some dyno numbers. Ford really underrated both these cars from their factory numbers that they published. Also, let me say that comparing dyno numbers and track numbers isn't really a precise way to compare these cars, but it is some quantified data that we can use. Now, based on conditions, based on different type of dynos, these numbers can be vary between these two cars, but I pulled together some numbers and I'm going to show you my findings. All right, first up, LMR took a bone stock 03 Cobra with 2,476 miles on it, and they dyno tested it. That car made 370 rear-wheel horsepower at 6,300 RPM and 380 pound-feet of torque at 4,200 RPM. Now, it's a little bit harder finding Cobra R numbers because, like I say, these are investor cars. Most people put them in the bubble. But LMR did do a dyno on a Cobra R. The only difference it had a off-road Bassani exhaust. So really it just had a Bassani muffler. Now, the Cobra R produced 390 horsepower at 6,200 RPM and 388 pound-feet of torque at 4,400 RPM. All right, so I know y'all gonna cry foul about that. I know you're gonna say, yeah, you took a bone stock Terminator and you put it up against a modified Cobra R. Now, the Cobra R had a different muffler. Of course, that's free-flowing exhaust. It will make a little bit more power. So I found another Cobra R, bone stock, different type of dyno. It made 348 to the wheels and 334 pound-feet of torque. So this is why I used the LMR dyno, because they were both tested on the same style of dyno. So I looked online, and it's kind of hard finding dyno numbers for the Cobra R, but from what I was able to gather, 360 to 372 seems to be where these things fall. So if you know what these things make on a dyno, say what kind of dyno it is and say what kind of number you know that these make. Leave the comment down below. Okay, so we looked at some dyno numbers, but now let's see how these two cars compare head to head at the track. Now these track numbers are not absolute. Again, let me say this. Weather, track conditions, and drivers can affect these times. I'm gathering data from different publications. I'm averaging these together, and this is the numbers that I have. 3 different tracks, and let's break this down. At Virginia Raceway, the Cobra R averaged 3 minutes, 8 seconds, and 6 tenths. The 03 Cobra averaged 3 minutes, 5 seconds, 4 tenths. At Laguna, the 2000 Cobra R averaged 1 minute, 43 and 8 cents. The 2003 Cobra averaged 1 minute, 43, 2 tenths. At Willow Springs, the 2000 R averaged 1 minute, 36, 6 tenths. The 03 Cobra averaged 1 minute, 33 and 4 tenths. So at 3 different tracks, the 2003 Cobra R was slightly faster than the 2000 Cobra R. Now, both these cars are well-built, high-performance cars, but the 2003 Cobra just kind of edges out the 2000 Cobra R in these 3 examples. All right, finally, we're going to look at some quarter-mile times. Now, let me say this, because I know y'all will come at me. Times will vary depending on weather and track and driver. So there's a lot of variables that come into this, but the 2000 Cobra R ran a 13.2 at 110 miles per hour. The 03 Cobra ran a 12.9 at 111 miles per hour. Now, the data that I went by was from Car and Driver. Yes, you are a stick shift pro. Yes, you can take your bone stock Cobra into the 9s because you're that good of a driver. But I'm using this data that's published by Car and Driver just to try to keep things as consistent as I could. So who comes out victorious in this head-to-head battle? This is kind of like a comparison between Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen. Both are great quarterbacks, but one is just better. The 2000 Cobra R is lighter, it has more displacement, and with a limited quantity of 300 units, the 2000 Cobra R will always be more valuable than the 2003 Cobra. But that's kind of where the advantages of the Cobra R goes away. Both cars made similar horsepower number. They both have forged internals with strong drivetrains. But if we look at the dyno charts, we'll see why the 03 Cobra outperforms the 2000 Cobra R. So even with the aftermarket exhaust of the Cobra R, it makes almost the same amount of torque as the Terminator. But the Cobra R makes its peak torque at 4,500 RPM. While thanks to the Eaton Supercharged on the 03 Cobra, it makes its peak torque at 3,500 RPM. But here's the thing, it makes 350 pound-feet of torque at 2,200 RPM. So I must be honest and say, coming into this, I thought the 2000 Cobra R would be quicker, especially in some of the road courses. Now, both these cars are rated around the same horsepower. And actually, the 2000 Cobra R, the gearing on the transmission is a lot higher than the 03 Cobra. The Cobra R has a weight advantage, and despite those things, the 03 Cobra outperformed the 2000 Cobra R in pretty much every road course and at the quarter mile. it was a close battle, and I think if you have this car, either one of these cars, you can't go wrong. But ultimately, the 03 Cobra wins. So I'm gonna say this was a fun thing to do. I really enjoyed this. One thing I would say, I would love to see these two cars do like a 60 to 130 pull. There's a ton of that information around for 03 Cobras, but those people who have those 2000 Cobra R's, they're not out here trying to do 60 to 130 pulls. You know, most of those people who have those are investors or they're hardcore road racers. But in a 60 to 130 pull, which car do you guys think would win? You know, it seems like the 03 Cobra is, we know what the 03 Cobra is, but the 2000 Cobra R seems like it might have an advantage in the higher RPM. But I don't know, that's speculation on my part. What do you guys think? So huge shout out to all the SN95 team members out there. Do me a solid, tell a couple of people about this channel, and until next time, God bless.
Twice.